my mask is stuck to my earring. We did have well over 100 people sign up for this event, but nevertheless, we're very happy that you've chosen to join us. We might tell you things that you already know, but regardless, really, it's just lovely to have people back on site again, and it's lovely to kind of speak to people face to face. When you do these kinds of events to a laptop screen and you don't get anything back, goodness me, it's difficult. So it's just so much nicer to see some smiley, happy faces. So thank you very much for coming. And do keep smiling. Even if we bore you, please do keep smiling. So the purpose of tonight, like I said, it's really important that we return to normal as much as possible. I want to make sure that we're inviting parents onto site, we're celebrating everything that our students are doing, but we also want to kind of reset some expectations as well moving forward. It's been an interesting couple of years, hasn't it? And we've had bigger fish to fry. A lot of the time we've had bigger things to worry about. And so we've let some of the smaller things go. So now what we're doing is we're returning back to basics and resetting our expectations of what we expect moving forward. And we hope that you will agree with us that the small things matter. If we worry about the small things, then the bigger things tend to look after themselves. So for those of you that have not met me in person before, I'm Emily Hopkinson and I'm head of the secondary school. So I'm responsible for year 7 all the way through to 13. My hair's grown a little bit from that photograph, I notice. We only returned to a secondary primary organisation last year, and it's been really, really interesting this year, turning from a middle senior back to a more traditional secondary school. And we've learnt lots, and we've got lots of things that we want to work on and improve moving forwards. So this is our new vision statement. A few of you may have seen it in different pockets, but this has actually not yet been shared with our community. It was only approved by the board last week. So there's some really, really key things in this vision that are really, really important to us. We wanted it to be short, we wanted it to be snappy, and we wanted it to really, really have impact. But that kind of sums up where we want to go as a whole school, both primary and secondary. It matters to us that our children are passionate, whatever it is that they want to do, whether that's sports, whether that's arts, music, whatever it is. We want our children to be really, really passionate. And by confident, we don't mean that they're always going to be the best at everything, but we want them to really go out into the world being confident in who they are and what they've achieved. So this is our vision. So that was our core purpose. This is our vision moving forward. And I'll give you a second to read. The worst teachers talk while people are reading because you can't do both things at the same time. So I'll just give you a second. We want to aspire to excellence. Does that mean we will do everything right and we will always achieve excellence? Doesn't. But we're going to try our best. And when we make mistakes, we'll pick ourselves up and we'll learn from it. We'll be resilient. I want children that will go out into the world and make a difference, whatever that difference is. If it's in their field of work, whether it's in sport, whatever it is, I want people to really learn not only academics, but some really core fundamental values from being at EC and go out into the world. Speaking of which, we have 5 new values that, again, the board have approved, and this will be kind of our guiding purpose moving forward. Some of them are similar. We've still got respect in there. It matters to us that our children are respectful of the people in school, of each other, of the staff, the security, the cleaners, all the furniture. But it's bigger than that. It's about respecting themselves and respecting what they value. Aspiration is really, really important to us. We want the children to aspire to great things, whatever that is. So really, really, really try their best. We want them to have integrity. It's so important to us that our children are honest, and we all make mistakes, and it's about owning those mistakes when you make them. Honesty is a fundamental part of our behaviour policy. It's really, really, really important. Resilience is another thing that's really, really important to us because we're all going to fall down. We have done over the last 2 years, and it's about learning and growing and developing. Finally, gratitude. Gratitude is something that we've really, really pushed all year in the secondary school. Our children are so fortunate compared to many across the world, and it matters to me that they know that. It matters to me that they know how lucky they are to have you and to be in a school like this. So it really matters to us that we really, really reinforce gratitude at every step. Now, you're going to meet several people tonight. The core team that are here are the secondary leadership team. As I said, I'm the head of the secondary school, and I am ably assisted by Miss Hamer, who's the deputy head of the secondary school. You may have met her. And then there are 3 assistant heads in the secondary school, one in charge of Key Stage 5, which is Mr. Edmonds, Key Stage 4, which is Miss Eyre, and Key Stage 3, which is Mr. Chaters. Mr. Moran is actually with us as well. He is the head of IT and computing, and he's going to talk a little bit about digital safeguarding and safety. But if you have a problem, these are the 5 people that have ultimate responsibility of the running of the secondary school. Many people tend to email Mr. Ford, the principal, and he'll just send it straight to me. So the best thing to do is cut out the middleman and just come straight to me, or one of the assistant heads or the deputy head if you've got a concern. And 9 times out of 10, we'll be able to help you. Of course, you've always got Mr. Ford to rely on should you need to. Now, in addition, we have an ECPC, and they've asked me to really highlight that to you. These are the really core group of parents that run our parent council, and they get involved with sustainability, with charities, and they have so much impact on the school. These are the people that organise the festive fair and organise other events in school. So if you're interested in getting involved, please do let me know and I can get you in touch with the right person. Safeguarding is another core job of mine, and we have a safeguarding team. Now, as well as being the head of secondary, I am the designated safeguarding lead, so everybody's safety in school, primary or secondary, is my responsibility. We have a safeguarding team, and I am supported in the secondary school by Miss Hamer and Mr. Sims, who's not here, and it's our responsibility to make sure that children are safe. So if they have any concerns or worries, they would be raised with me. And it's my job to make sure that we sort them out to make sure that everybody is safe and happy. We're so lucky to have Miss Jade, who is our full-time counsellor. She's awesome, and she works with students on so many different levels. Students don't have to have some big issue to meet her. Some students talk about worries regarding exams, worries regarding letting people down and failing, so many different things. So if you think your child would benefit from speaking to Jade, you can absolutely arrange an appointment for them. You can come to me, you can email counsellor and she will arrange that for you. Also, we've got lots of other support structures in school. We've got Miss Ahmed, and we've got her team of learning support assistants who support students in lessons if they struggle to access the curriculum. We've got Miss Murphy, who's in charge of HE and careers, and we've also got Cheryl in admissions and Caroline. So we've got lots and lots of people. Should you need, if you've got any questions, I can put you in touch with the right person. Now, finally from me. You'll notice on this list, exam grades are not on the top. It's really, really, really important to me that our children are safe and happy. It's important that they enjoy coming to school. I want them to be nerdy. I want them to really love learning about things in science or geography or maths or English, things that are really, really cool and interest them. And I want them to have passions way beyond the curriculum. And I'm so excited. I'm just finalising the calendar for next year, and the trips that we've got on offer and the events in school. I'm just so excited that we can return to some normality. Camps for every single year group. You're going to get rid of them for a few days. They're going to get dirty. They're going to have a wonderful time. And we're just so excited that we can do this for them. If you feel like your children are not safe and happy and not excited about coming to school and don't really enjoy their time, you need to let me know, because that is my responsibility to make sure that happens. So I'm going to pass over to Mr. Edmonds right now. Mr. Edmonds, as I've said, is the head of Key Stage 5, and he's going to talk a little bit more about the sixth form.
Thank you, Miss Hopkinson. So hi, everyone. As we've said already, I'm Mr. Edmonds. So I'm in charge of Key Stage 5, which is year 12 and 13. Echoing a lot of what Miss Hopkinson's already said, but the most important thing is obviously we have happy students. So the kind of pastoral side of things with Key Stage 5 is huge. Obviously, my overall responsibility is to make sure that we package our students into the big bad world and make sure that we've got everything ready for them. So We're obviously getting them ready for university. We'll be doing lots and lots of skills to get them prepared. We'll also be looking at how we can get them independent outside of lessons as well, outside of university, and so that they are ready to be those global citizens and really go out into the world. So anything with Key Stage 5, please let me know. I'll be ably supported by Miss Murphy and Miss Marat next year. So yeah, anything to do with that, please come see me. I'm going to pass over to Miss Eyre now, who is for Key Stage 4.
So as Mr. Edmonds said, my name is Danielle Eyre and I look after Year 10 and Year 11 students. A lot of you may have seen or met me before, be it you've got a child in Year 10 and Year 11 currently, or maybe you've got a child in Year 9 that has just started kind of the GCSE journey and has chosen their options, and I'm hoping really excited about next year. So my role is, as Mr. Edmonds said, to look after not just the pastoral care and the academic care of your child, but to make sure that they are happy and safe in school. Obviously, GCSEs are a really exciting time for lots of students because they are, for the first time, in charge of their timetable a little bit more. They have refined what subjects they want to take, and they're almost a bit of a hybrid between the younger students and these independent learners that Mr. Edmonds is trying to shape in the sixth form. And so our role is to make sure that they are successful academically, but they're developing those independent learning skills as well. So if I haven't met you already, I will be here at the end, and I'm looking forward to working with you all. I'm just going to pass over to Mr. Chaters.
Right. Hello, my name is Mr. Chaitis and I am the teacher with responsibility for Key Stage 3, which is obviously Year 7 to 9. I am just about to complete my 14th year at the English College. I'll just let that sink in a little bit. 14 years. I was here when the old building was a new building. So in my time at the college, I started here in 2008 as head of physical education. I've also been head of sixth form or head of Year 13. I've also worked in the primary school. So where I fit into the school is I've kind of seen, I also as a PE teacher teach everyone from, I have taught everyone from FS1 all the way to Year 13. So I'm kind of fit and hold everything together in terms of knowing where students are coming from and knowing where we want them to get to. And ultimately where we want them to get to is that what Mr. Edmonds has just alluded to in terms of having the skills and being ready for the tests of life and not just a life of tests. So big part of my role really is to make sure that we're really focusing on a student's well-being. Obviously, academia is going to be important, but we don't want it to be the be-all and end-all of everything. We want students to be building character. We want them to be taking opportunities, something that I will talk about a little bit later in terms of extracurricular, in terms of student leadership, in terms of really becoming that well-rounded student that will be able to have the foundations to build on, that when they go and get these great examination results, that's not all they have as they, as I said, go into the bigger, wider world. So yeah, my job is to make sure they have a smooth transition, coming up from primary school, they feel settled, they feel part of our community, and then when they leave us in Year 9, they've got all of those skills and they're ready to go on and be successful learners when they embark on the GCSE subjects. So I'll talk a little bit about the extracurricular, etc. in a second. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Moran, who's going to talk a little bit more about digital safeguarding. Thank you.
Well, evening all. All right, my name is Mr. Moran. If you haven't met me, I am the lead of computer science, but I also have an important role within the school, and that is, if I move on a little bit, with regards to digital safeguarding. So, in the past few years, obviously when COVID hit, digital devices have obviously entered the classroom a lot more, and we have encountered issues inside of school and outside of school. So what my job is to try and educate the staff, the parents and the students on the potential dangers and trying to promote, obviously, the healthy use of these devices. Through there we do assemblies, we do staff CPD, we do e-safety lessons, and then any issues students encounter, they're passed to me and I will investigate along with the team and we'll try to come to a resolution and obviously support the students as best we can. One thing we have done for next year and the school have invested into is this platform called the National Online Safety, and that company there is going to provide us with a lot of resources, access for parents and staff to a digital device app, and also the website where you can sign up and you can gain access to webinars, guides, courses on all the latest trends, all the latest topics that are surrounding keeping our students safe. And hopefully, obviously, as a team, as a community, we can make sure our students are making the right decisions and healthy choices whilst online. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in the summer. So when we come back and meet the tutor, I'll give you a little bit more guidance as to how you can register, how you can make the most and utilise the platform a little bit more. I do have a new newsletter coming out tomorrow, so that'll be on iSAMS. Again, with just trying to keep everyone educated with all the latest. I think tomorrow we've got a little focus on Twitch, basically things that you wouldn't know off the top of your head. So we're trying to keep everyone up to date. One other thing I am going to discuss, which shouldn't come as a shock to everyone. Obviously, everyone's aware of the bring your own device policy. It's embedded within the digital safeguarding policy. But as a parent, ideally, if you are going to be purchasing a new device anytime soon, notice obviously year 10 upwards, but also year 7 upwards, I would be recommending a laptop. Okay, so the attitude from students towards bringing a laptop into the lesson is a lot more positive than possibly it is with a tablet or a Chromebook, whereby apps, etc., are a little bit easier to download and maybe slightly distract them. Okay, but that's everything from me tonight. But like I said, I'll catch you all up in September and we'll have a little bit more discussion about digital safety then. Okay, I'm going to pass you on to Miss Hamer. Thank you.
Good evening. I think I met most of you on arrival as you came in through the secondary entrance. Obviously these slides will be sent home, so please don't feel you have to kind of make a note of these. We're all sitting here now ready and waiting for summer, I'm sure, the students especially, but obviously we do have to look ahead towards next year. So these are the term dates, just for your reference. Oh, I see people got the cameras out. So these are the term dates for your reference. We'll absolutely send these slides around, and it's just good for you to know kind of what's expected moving forward into next academic year. Again, just extra information in case maybe you've forgotten or just want a little bit more awareness of what your child's day looks like. This is the outline of a school day in secondary school. So obviously our lessons are an hour long with the exception of Friday, which is a slightly shorter day. And then obviously we've got lots of opportunities for extracurricular after school, which Mr. Chaters will talk about a little bit more in a few minutes. I'm sure this will come as no surprise to you, and I'm sure it's a system that you're already following. But if your child is absent for any reason, and perhaps they're unwell, we would ask that you as a parent email in to the absence at email. It's really important that we get the communication from you. It's not that we don't believe your child, we'd just much rather it came from you. And we'd ask you to do that nice and early in the morning as well, just so that we can inform the teachers and the form tutor and keep everybody up to date. Obviously, we understand that sometimes children are unwell and can't come to school, but it will come as no surprise that attendance has a direct correlation to achievement in the secondary school. So the more that your children can be in school, the better. Obviously mentioning that sometimes children do get unwell. We do have an amazing medical team on site. They're all linked through King's College Hospital. We've got a great team of nurses. We've got a doctor on site. And should your child feel ill at any point in school, they can, of course, go down to the clinic and receive the treatment and advice that they need. So please make sure you remind them that that's there for them should they need it. And again, as you're probably very aware, but just in case you need reminding or need any additional support, we do have a bus transport company run through Maverick. So if you need extra support getting to and from school, you could get the school bus, and that's available. There's more information on the webpage or through the parent handbook. And obviously, you know, it's really lovely to see your children arrive nice and early in the morning and come through secondary school entrance the same way that you did today. So I hope you got a little taste of their day as you arrived. I'm going to hand over now to Mr. Chaters, who will give you a little bit more of an idea of the wider school environment.
Okay, I'm back. As I alluded to earlier, one of my previous roles was head of year 13, and one of the things I remember doing vividly as head of year 13 was university references. It wasn't necessarily university, it could be reference for further work, placements, etc. And it was at that time that it really hit me how important the things that our students do beyond the curriculum actually were. Because a lot of students and a lot of families, and I will criticise some families here as well as students, they thought grades, it's all about the grades. And yes, it is about grades. They are important. I would never say they're not. But often you will get to a point where your grades are purely getting you a chance or an opportunity to go for a course. They're not getting you onto a course. So if I'm the most intelligent student in English college and I've got straight A's, that will only get me an opportunity to go up against a range of students from around the world that also have straight A's. So it only gets me a shot at the title, should we say. It's not going to win the fight, as my analogy I would use. Because if you're up against somebody that has the straight A's, but they also play sport to a high level, play music to a high level, has done great charity work, has been a volunteer, your straight A's will suddenly start to lose value. And it is so important that we are making our students aware of that early, because you can't just wait until you get halfway through year 13 and say, oh, I'm going to suddenly go to netball club because I want to put it on my CV, because the university application services will see through that straight away. It is so important, and that is why we are, as a school, always going to promote providing a range of opportunities, and we will always be looking to do more and more. Starting with extracurricular clubs, we really do promote students to get involved in at least one extracurricular club per term as a minimum. As I said, the benefits that come from being part of a club, social, mental, but there's also, it is building that character, and our clubs are always built around trying to develop skills, develop competences, and to develop something that you can build on. And if you start in year 7, by the time you get to year 13 and you've done it every week, you're going to be quite good at it as well and quite experienced. We do have as well at our clubs, it is everyone, unless it is capped for safety reason on numbers. We do run an inclusive club system. We don't say to people, oh, you're not very good at football, you can't come to football club, because I think that is quite ridiculous, because how are you ever going to get good unless you come to practice? I know at other schools they might say that they're big on trials and they say, oh, we'll only let the best come to our club. Again, I think this is quite ridiculous, because how are you going to get better if we don't let you train? So we will always try and have everyone coming to clubs, and we always will promote it, and we don't ever want to be in a position where we say we don't want somebody or you're not able to attend that club. And it isn't just sporting clubs. We run clubs across all activities, and we really do promote the students getting involved in as many as possible. Most of the sporting clubs will run before school or after school. The reason that we run so many before school is so that we have the facilities free for fixtures, for matches, etc. Because as you can imagine, as a school, it does become quite congested. The more we offer, the more demand there is on facilities, so the more we have to be flexible in terms of the early morning clubs, the after school clubs, because there's so much going on. And I know I've said it a few times already, I would really strongly suggest that you encourage your children to get involved in as much as they possibly can. In terms of that's just a selection of different clubs that we have ran over the last couple of years. Obviously, it has been impacted slightly by COVID, but we are coming out into more a normal provision now. So there's, as you can see, there's range, there's breadth, there's no excuse really. There should be something that anybody, you don't have to, I'm a sportsman myself, but if your sport isn't your thing, there's plenty of opportunities for you to get involved in. Also, we run instrumental lessons. This is something that, again, our head of music, Miss Garvey, is really trying to promote. So if sport isn't your thing, then music, again, you don't have to be a grade 8 pianist to go and join our music club or our Perry lessons. We do run these from beginner level all the way through to advanced levels. We have Perry teachers that will come in and run clubs, instrumental, they're not called clubs, instrumental lessons that you can sign up for your children, and they will run on a rotational basis, so they will come out of a lesson for their violin or their piano lesson, and that won't be on the same lesson every week. It will change so they're not missing the same lesson every week. And again, I would encourage students to take that opportunity. I do often wish that I'd learned to play an instrument. I think it's pretty cool. I didn't at school, and I've had to watch cool people playing the guitar and things and watching envy. If it is something that you're interested in, please do contact Miss Garvey, and she will be able to give you all of the relevant information. Okay, so just to final on that, it is, Ms. Hopkinson alluded to this earlier, that trips are coming back. please, we ran a trip, I think 3 years ago with year 7 or 2 years ago, and it was very poorly attended. And again, it was so frustrating because the students that did attend had an amazing time. I keep coming back to the days when I was head of the higher school, and when we get our graduating students, our year 13s that are leaving, they always remember things like the residential trips, the year 7 sleepover, the residential trip. They always remember that. That's their memory. What is your fondest memory of English college? Very rarely will they talk about an actual academic lesson. They will say residential in year 8, the year 7 sleepover. It was awesome. So again, please, these opportunities will be coming thick and fast. Please do. When they come, encourage. And if you've got a reluctant child at home saying, oh, I don't know, you be the pushing force at home this one. Say, go on, get involved, give it a go, do your best. Oh, sorry. Go back to it. That's my way. Okay. And as I've said, I think I've mentioned it a few times, but it is these opportunities beyond the curriculum, whether it be extracurricular, whether it be trips, whether it be student leadership, they're all building, they're all adding layers to a student's character and developing them as people. And I will use the quote again, we want to be preparing our students for the tests of life and not just a life of tests. Because we don't know what's going to come in the future. And the more skills that they can have on their armory, the more well prepared they're going to be successful in the future. If all they can do is read science and pass a test, possibly that's not going to quite be enough. Okay, I'm going to go through a few, and we've already said that a lot of these will be shared with you, but these are just reminders really. Uniform, and please make sure that students have the correct uniform. It's all shared in the handbook, parent handbook. It is slightly different for sixth form. Again, do keep checking back on this because we do have quite a few parents that don't quite know and still come to us at the end of the year and so we didn't know that they had to have that certain jumper and we didn't know they weren't allowed to wear their own jumper or the pullover. Okay, we will regularly as well, and some of you can ask to verify this, your children, that we will challenge students on their uniform. So if they don't wear their uniform correctly, we will be challenging them. It is very, very important. And I think, as Hopkinson used the phrase earlier, if we don't take care of the little things, then the big things will start to go wrong. So please do make sure that your part, they're coming without extreme haircuts, you're encouraging them to wear their uniform correctly, they're coming in the correct shoes, etc. Okay, and these are just a few of the things that bugbears of mine that I am going to mention. I know maybe I'm not speaking to the correct parents, I'm not sure, but the things of shirts, boys having their shirts tucked in at all times, I will pick up on them, I will nag them, I will tell them to tuck it in. Jewellery, there should be very limited jewellery worn by boys or girls. Again, please have a look at the parent handbook to see what that should be. Yeah, we have high expectations and we do challenge our students in terms of all of that. And the biggest bugbear of all is shoes, okay? Shoes, big bugbear of mine. We did make a mistake and we always hold our hands up when we make mistakes. We weren't explicit enough in our parent handbook and student handbook last year. I think the phrase, the wording of it was black leather shoes, and the interpretation of this was taken to mean black Nike trainers, black Puma trainers, black Adidas trainers. As long as it was black and leather, everyone expected to be able to, and a lot of our students did come after with their really expensive new black trainers, and our wording potentially wasn't correct, so we have let that go this year, but we have made sure that we've learned from our mistakes and we have changed the wording, and it must be a black leather shoe. Okay, so this message we will keep sending out. It must be a black leather shoe and not branded in any way with a sporting manufacturer's name. Okay, so please do make sure that when you go shopping in the summer for the new shoes that they've grown out of, please do make sure that they are shoes and not trainers. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Chaters. So when we're talking about shopping, another thing that you might be considering buying over the holidays is equipment. The equipment is pretty standard, to be honest with you. All of this is in the handbook. Please, can we just ask parents to help us ensure that students have got a full pencil case and they have something to write with. Mrs. Hopkinson said we're trying to return back to pre-COVID time, which means we are going to be using books more and writing more, so they need to have the right stationery in order to do that. Exam classes, for those of you that are shifting perhaps into Year 10 for the first time or into Year 12 for the first time, then you might need specialist subject equipment. So your teachers will tell you about that. They may have already informed you, like a sketchbook for art, for example, a maths set for if you're studying GCSE maths or A-level maths. So a lot of these things you will probably already know from your teachers, but just something to bear in mind when you are shopping over the summer. We are going for a return back to books, which as a history teacher, someone who loves writing and enjoys reading, it's really important that we get back to those kind of expectations. Not to talk about tests, I know Mr. Chater's kind of referred to preparing students holistically, but ultimately most of our children's examinations are written papers by hand. And so you will start to see, again, in your child's bag, their exercise books. And those exercise books should show that learning journey. So you'll be able to see what work they're doing in class, the assessments that they're completing, and the feedback from the teachers about how they're getting on, and then the response to that feedback, so how the student, your child, is reflecting and improving. So just a heads up about that. You'll start to see those books in their bags with those half-termly assessments in them. In regards to textbooks, again, we've been very much leaning towards a digital age, but students, especially in the exam year groups, will be issued textbooks in September or late August, and that comes out from the library. So they're just things that you might start to see in your child's bag that perhaps weren't there before. In regards to lockers, obviously your child already has a locker. Our intention is that they will keep that locker until the end of this academic year. And so we will do a shift and a changeover in September. We didn't want any student in a position where they didn't have a locker to use right until the end of term. So keep the keys, keep the combinations in your mind or record them down somewhere. And in September, we'll be in contact about moving a locker if your form group has changed locations. A reminder about break times and lunch times. It is the same as it always has been. We continue to supervise your children at breaks and lunch. We have lots of different places where they can spend their time, but really want to have your support in this. We are trying to get students off of their screens during social time and interacting with each other as much as possible. So if you are able just to have a chat with them at home and encourage them to do that, so we remember how to have real conversations again rather than hiding behind that screen. Swiss Canonica continues to be our catering company. We continue to have the same service that we did this year. Just a request really for parents to remind their students that we don't have any takeaways delivered to site, even if they're on study leave or having exams or it's the last day of term. We request that all food is purchased on site or brought in as a packed lunch. In regards to devices, now there are two kind of issues that we tend to face in school as teachers that tend to happen kind of outside of the classroom really. One of them is a link to their device. Yes, we are encouraging a no screen during social time, but a lot of students are carrying mobile phones around with them and they're then using those mobile phones in and around school. Yes, we are obviously mindful that we want to move with the times and things are digital, but just really a reminder that if your child brings their phone in with them, it should be switched off and put in their bag, otherwise it will be confiscated. Another issue, unfortunately, we are facing, as are many schools in Dubai, is an issue with vaping as well. So just please really be mindful that this does happen in schools. Be reassured that we are challenging that behaviour and we're doing a lot about it. Obviously, vaping for young people, they might not recognise it as serious as something like smoking, but it does have its risks and it can impact development and have the same kind of ramifications that maybe smoking a cigarette or nicotine might. As a school, we're trying to kind of tackle this from lots of different angles. So we are, of course, educating your children during pastoral time about what vaping is and the dangers of vaping. We tend to find it's happening in the bathrooms where perhaps the teachers aren't going to be present. And so what we're doing about that is we are having extra kind of patrols, extra duties. We are kind of spontaneously doing bag searches and going into bathrooms just to make sure that students are being protected and looked after properly. And we encourage students, and I hope if you could encourage your child as well, if you do see someone vaping in the bathroom, come and talk to us so we can deal with the problem. So that's it from me. I'm going to pass over to Mr. Edmonds. It's just going to talk a little bit more about positive behaviour in school.
Thank you, Miss Eyre. Just leading on actually from the vaping slide, there is a coffee morning next week to talk through the dangers of vaping. So if you're interested in that, please have a look on ISAMS for that communication. So positive behaviour policy. Obviously, the emphasis is on positivity. We want to reward the students getting it right, but we do also understand that they are going to get it wrong every now and again. And the way our policy works is we want to obviously work with the student to understand what they did maybe was wrong, and then how we would move forward with it. Obviously, our policy is based on all of our core values, and we will be driving the message of our core values throughout. Importantly, I must just add, we have our whole behaviour policy is based upon honesty. So if a student's got something wrong, the best thing they can do is just hold their hands up and just say, yep, this is what happened. And then we can obviously move on with it. As parents, you can do such good amounts of work for us by obviously encouraging that positivity and also encouraging that honesty. We have had instances in the past where we would have students who maybe have made a wrong choice and then decided to lie about it, and our policy actually escalates that higher. So please, please, please keep emphasising the importance of telling the truth at home. So so with our supporting study, we have a number of independent study times for students. I know I've jumped over homework quickly, I'll come back to it. So with our independent study, some of the students will have that as a lesson on their timetable, and we will be working through things like study skills there. As a sixth form, head of the sixth form, I know obviously we have a larger number of study periods, and they are exactly that, study periods and not frees. So we will work with them to make sure that we get the right skills into students, and so that they can actually use their independent time correctly. With homework, we're looking to consolidate, but also we want to further that love of learning with the students. So you will have homework being set for all of your children. We don't have an actual physical planner for them to write with. We use Google Classroom, and all of the homework is then set on the Google Classroom with deadlines so that the students can monitor that. The final thing just to say is obviously for the Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5 students, there are a number of pieces of work that are actually coursework, and they go towards their final exam grades. We do have an academic honesty policy within the school, and obviously that's encouraging students to make sure that all their work is their own. The worst thing that could happen is if they're doing a piece of coursework and then they decide to another student or copy that from online, then that actually can cause them to fail that assignment. So please, 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 again, we want to emphasize the fact that they need to be doing all their own work. Get that working. Yeah, perfect. So our student leadership, we've been working really hard to make sure that we get the structures of student leadership sorted. You'll have seen this evening a number of our student leaders from year 12 going into year 13. So you had the head boy and girl of the school and the cabinet. So they are obviously the kind of head students within the school. But then from there, we also will have a number of opportunities in every year group to represent and be a leader within the school. So we have a number of key areas that we're trying to build upon, things like well-being, things like sports and the arts. And so students can obviously, they can campaign to become their rep for their class, and then obviously they get those leadership opportunities. So the house system, I hope that you've heard from your children about representing their house, but we obviously have 4 houses: Hawk, Kestrel, Eagle and Falcon. And so throughout the year we will be organising a number of different competitions in order for them to represent their house, and also they'll be gaining house points to obviously get their house winning the house overall trophy. So yeah, watch out for a number of different house events. I must just obviously say, for anyone who's got a sixth form child, there are a number of extra privileges for a sixth form student. So we have a lovely common room up on the 3rd floor. I think it's got to be the only common room in the world that has a view of the Burj Khalifa. So I had a field when I looked out of my common room. But anyway, so yeah, they get to go in there. They also have a number of key areas that they can go to. And also they have their study periods as well. So the final thing to say with sixth form privileges is some of the students do finish their lessons early, and we do give the students the opportunity to earn the right to leave early, but they do need to earn that. So, communication channels. Hopefully you've all got your ISAMS parent app all set up, but again, just to emphasise, we will be putting all our letters and communication through ISAMS, and again, it will keep being updated on that app, so please keep checking that app for any communication from the school. So that is every piece of information that we had to give you this evening. We are all going to be here. Please come say hello to us if you're part of our year groups, or even if you're not and you just want to come say hello. We would happily like to chat to any of you guys. But yeah, thank you very much for your time this evening, and we look forward to all seeing you in September. Cheers.